been to Moscow in the 1970s when Thompson's package tours opened up, and we took our sons aged 11 and 13 to Moscow because we thought that would be a big experience for them. And this was a chance to go, that was when Brezhnev was in power.
So what was it like though in Moscow in the 1970s?
Oh, grim.
Really?
It was winter, so it was covered in snow. It looked beautiful. And we'd recently been watching War and Peace on television, and we're actually full of Russia, you know. So it was amazing to go there. Just extraordinary. And it was winter, it was snowing. Then the plane came into the airport over a pine forest. And there were all these soldiers in these fantastic uniforms, and our boys again beside themselves with excitement. And our youngest son had taken the Guinness Book of Records with him because he knew there are a lot of things in Moscow that were the biggest thing. They were in the Book of Records. But he got to see all his big things. We especially went to see the biggest picture, which was a huge circular picture of the Battle of Borodino, and it was very impressive, and they were delighted with it. We saw the big cannon, we saw the big bell, and we saw the big tower. There hadn't been many visitors in Moscow then, and our sons really did cause quite a stir. We dressed them, we thought, very soberly. Larry had a grey duffel coat, but Tim had a denim coat with a pretend fur lining and a hood, and that all appeared to be extraordinary to Russian school children, and there were lots of Russian school children in parties going around museums. And they just stared and stared at Tim and Larry, and Tim and Larry's hair it was the 1970s, so their hair was perhaps a bit long. And we thought we could melt into the background, but we just must have stood out a mile. We felt ever so self-conscious. And we tried to wear clothes that would look, those are the things we thought the Russians were wearing now. I met his tour guide who took us everywhere. You know, you'd got to watch your step, and be very careful what you said, which Peter wasn't really. I kept on thinking, oh, they're going to impound him off the bus. Well, we broke away from the group to go to Chekhov's house because we were so keen to see it, and we sort of, it was implied it didn't exist. But there was a Yugoslav person who was working for Thompson's at the time, and she heard us talking about it, and she said, I'll give you a little map. She said, you can walk to it from the In-Tourist Hotel. You can just walk around there. I give you the map, you walk there. So we left our sons in the hotel because they were busy. They spent a lot of time making up their own comics, and they were drawing up their comics. And we walked around and went to Chekhov's house, which was a wonderful thing for us to experience. And there was a museum there, and some of Chekhov's own things, own furniture, writing materials. It was all very quiet, there was no one there. There was an elderly lady who was in charge, and she was amazed that we were from England, and she said, there's one thing I want to ask. Do you see Chekhov in England? And we said yes. You know, lots of it. And she burst into tears, which was quite a moving event. Yes. We thought she just didn't know that the barrier between what people knew and what was actually going on must have been amazing. I don't think things that are happening in the rest of the world just got through to people. And the other thing that impressed us was that people walked on the pavement, and in one direction, if you were going one way, you kept to one side of the pavement, and if you were going the other direction, you kept to the other side. There were no notices, I don't think, to tell you, but you just did. And we picked that up, that you really had to get on the right side of the pavement. Yes, and they were very strict about it. Okay. And also, the Russians were very friendly, the people in the streets, because I think I once went out without my hat on, and this really caused concern. They saw you without a hat, they sort of, you know, gesture to you, put your hat on, cover your ears up, which was very sensible because it was freezing, well below freezing.
It totally snowed over, I imagine.
Yeah. And we did go on a tram once. We thought, Peter and the boys and me thought we'd get on a tram, and we couldn't cope with the way you put the money in, but somebody came and put money in for us, and they were really, lots of gestures, were very welcoming. And it was a wonderful experience to go to Russia then, and then I think I was very lucky to get a chance to go again.
Had it changed a lot?
It had changed drastically, yes.